Aloha once again, everyone. This is Sean with Homestead in Hawaii, and today I thought I'd make this video because I've been getting a lot of response from every one of you out there, people who want to know how to get off grid. It's something that almost seems insurmountable for most people. Now, let me tell you, I chose to go off grid when I was 23 years old. It's just a young surfer living in California, working a job as a valet at a restaurant with kind of disillusionment in life. I was tired of that. I didn't see a way out, even though I was super young, but I just thought I need to find something different. And for me, I surfed and I knew that I wanted to live in a warm place. So I started researching Hawaii and found out about something called permaculture, and that there are all these farms in Hawaii where I can go to, where I can live there and experience what it's like to live on a piece of land. And so that's what I did. I just sold all my stuff, shipped my surfboards to Hawaii, and landed on a farm out here, and I haven't looked back ever since. I was able to buy myself a piece of land through money that I saved working as a valet. My expenses were low as a young man, and I had a couple $1,000s saved, and that was enough at the time for me to purchase my own piece of land and to begin to establish it. So that's how I got into this. Now, how are you going to get into this? Okay, so let's start with who, what, where, when, why, how. All right. Um, Working there, and we can begin to establish what we want to what we're looking for with our homestead. So let's start with the what. What do you want your homestead to look like? What do you want in your homestead? Do you want a property that is remote, 500 acres in the middle of the Alaskan wilderness? Or do you want, are you happy with just a small little parcel of land in a warm tropical environment that is able to produce tons of food for you off that property? Or do you just want to live in your apartment where you're at, perhaps in a city like Los Angeles or San Francisco? Even though I live in Hawaii and I have a sort of Hawaii bent, whatever we're share here today is going to be able to help you. So, what? I wish I did a little more of the what when I was looking for my homestead. For me, my criteria as a young man was I want a homestead where I can grow food and is close to the surf. So I chose a piece of property that was in between two of my favorite surf spots. Unfortunately, one of my favorite surf spots is under lava now, so I am lucky that at least I have another surf spot nearby. I'm glad I didn't go all in on that one surf spot. Otherwise, I would be left with nothing and have to drive even further. Now, as I'm older and I have a family, I wish my neighborhood was a little more bikeable, a little more walkable. And there's plenty of places where you can find these things and have an off-grid homestead. So for you, what you should do right now is begin to make a list and identify what you want for your homestead. How big, what sort of amenities, community nearby, totally isolated, all those things. Begin to identify that, and that'll begin to allow us to narrow down what sort of homestead we're going to be able to get, how much we can afford, or how much we need to make to be able to afford it. All right. So after that, we're going to go with the where. So the what kind of affects the where. Once you've identified what you want, you're going to have a little more of a clear picture of where you want to do it. So like I said, for me, Hawaii was it. Uh, my first trip to Hawaii was on Kauai, and that place was amazing. But I knew I couldn't afford it. I was just a young man as a valet, so I saw a property on the Big Island of Hawaii, and I was like, hey, $3,000 for a quarter acre? Hell yeah, man. So I jumped on it. I never been to the Big Island. I thought Hawaii, it's all Hawaii, it's all the same. But you know what? Each island is different out here. While I wish I was on Kauai or another island, sometimes I'm happy with the Big Island. But it was what I can afford. Now, for you, your where might be a super isolated climate In Alaska, it could be 500 acres in the middle of the country, Missouri. It could be just sticking with your apartment and doing it there. So that decision is really up to you, okay? So begin to figure out your where, and then we can move on from there. Another thing for you to identify is why. Why do you want to go off grid? Why do you want to start a homestead? Well, for a lot of us now, this whole coronavirus thing has given us a big wake-up call. And we know that it's more important than ever to be able to provide some things for ourselves. We cannot depend on the distribution system to be able to do it for us. Having a homestead that grows food, produces power, and harvests water can go a long way. When this coronavirus thing broke out, I wasn't panicking or worried. I knew that I already had everything on my homestead that I could ever need. And if I lost my job, we live in a place where we are totally debt free. We live within our means. If my wife or I lost the jobs that we have here, we'd be fine. I don't have to pay rent. The money that we earn is extra money to go travel and play and buy things that we like to buy. You know, little toys for the homestead, surfboards, things for the kids. But it's none of that is necessary, as we can see with this whole coronavirus thing. What's most necessary is our families, people that we love. So why do you want a homestead? Is it because you want to grow your own food? You want to get away from people? You want to find a group of people to live more communally with? Find that why, because I guarantee you, a year or two into your homestead, you're going to be wondering why you decided to do this. You know, it's so much easier just to go back to life, living in the city, going to sport games on the weekend, and going to the grocery store to get your food. But growing your own food, you have to want to do it. There has to be a why there for you, because it is a lot of extra work than what we're normally accustomed to. So figure out your why. All right, so who are you going to move with? Who is going to go off grid with you? Are you going to do it by yourself? Do you have a spouse? Do you have kids? These are important questions to ask. It's going to determine what your homestead's going to look like, how much you're going to need to spend on it, and what sort of resources you have. Having a spouse can help by having one person going to work while you work on the homestead. If it's just you, you're going to have to do it all yourself. You may have to save more money or work part-time on a job off the homestead and part-time on the homestead. Or if you just don't have any money, you're going to have to work full-time off the homestead and then find your free time spending it developing your homestead while you're there. It's going to be a lot of work at the beginning. But when you figure out your who, you can help identify how much work you're going to need to do and how much work you can share. Who also involves, if you have kids, where are they going to go to school? Where are they going to find their friends? Do you not mind just being totally isolated and homeschooling your kids? Because that's totally fine. It works for kids. But also sometimes it's nice to have the option of having a school or having a network of friends nearby to be able to engage your kids socially. So consider the who. Do you want to go on your own? Are you going with your family? Or are you looking for a community to go off grid with? Write all that down, figure out the who in your life is going to join you, and let's move on from there. All right, when do you want to go off grid? What's your timeline looking like? Do you already have land? Are you still saving up to get the land to go off grid? Well, you need to figure out your when and then work back from there. Now, if I was thinking about leaving my job and going off grid a year from now, I'd want to find where I want to live and how much property is in that area and begin to get an idea of what I'm going to need to spend to go off grid. And then from there, I could work back a year, say maybe I'm going to need $10,000. Well, I could save $8,000 to $1,000 a month and have enough to go off grid to purchase my land. Maybe when can happen tomorrow for you. You're just super flexible and you can join a farm that's already off grid and live there and contribute with them. A community where they accept new members, or maybe you're ready to buy some land and you have money. You must figure out the when and begin to do your planning. It's going to take some time. I jumped right into it, but I really wish that I did a little more planning before jumping into this whole off-grid homesteading thing. So begin to make your list. This is going to be your homework for today. Make your list of who, what, where, when, and why. And then we're going to come back with the how. How are we going to accomplish our off-grid goals? So today, work on identifying your W's, and then we're going to come back and we're going to work on the how. And just a little teaser, the how is going to include creating yourself a budget, cutting back expenses, increasing your income, and creating that timeline for you to make that move. It's possible, folks. If I can do it, I know that you can do it. I am not a rich person. Whatever I did, I earned on my own, and I still continue earning money in order to, support some of our lifestyle aspects. But I know that it can be done, and any one of you can do it. One of the most important things for you to know is that you can do it right now, at home, where you're at. Begin to consider catching your own water, growing a balcony garden with some microgreens, install a compost toilet where you live if you have a little space, and recycle your waste. Put a couple solar panels and take them with you when you leave if you're renting. All these things can be done now to give you the skills that you need later. And once again, in order to go off grid, you're going to need skills. Let's throw that in there. So while you're waiting to achieve your goal, to achieve your dream, work on building skills. Do some weekend projects building around the house. Start to research all about solar and growing food. Do these things and you will be much better prepared for when you actually do go off grid. Now my my website, homesteadinhawaii.com, gives lots of tips for people who are looking to go off grid, who are already off grid, who just want more skills to grow food or to install solar, install water catchment. You can visit that site to learn more, or just check us out weekly where we'll be dropping more videos like this. Hit like, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Comment, ask questions. I'm here for you. I will answer your questions. I'm eager to share what I know. I want more people living off grid because this is our future. This is how we're going to take care of our children. This is how we're going to take care of the massive debt problems that are crushing our country. This is how we are going to move forward as human race in the world of coronaviruses and climate change and economic collapse. So let's start working towards that. Write that list and come back next week where we're going to share with you the how. Mahalo for watching, everyone. Aloha.